Welcome to the Market Analyzer Show. Today's show, we're going to talk about silver, the biggest cup and handle of all time. It's July 19th, 2025. Let's get right into it. Right here, we got on Trading View. I like this little article that was written up. It was written up last year, September 15th, 2024. It was done by Trading View. Apple's cup and handle pattern in the early 2000s is often cited as one of the most significant after a prolonged downtrend. Apple formed a large cup and handle from 2000 to 2005, which after breaking out has continued to appreciate to this very day. However, Apple's pattern is nothing compared to the current cup and handle pattern that exists in silver, whether in size or price. I truly believe that silver is currently the most undervalued asset and will not attain higher prices than most can imagine, but will also rapidly begin to appreciate against gold, which will currently has a ratio of 83.75 to 1. This ratio is irrational and unsustainable as gold and silver are typically mined at a ratio of 10 to 1. Even current US Treasury Mint coins, silver eagles and gold eagles, have a current exchange rate of 50 to 1 at face value. Historically, under the gold standard, the Coinage Act 1834, the ratio was set to 16 to 1. Although this will not happen overnight and could take a decade or more to come to fruition, the unnatural and irrational low price of silver is coming to an end. The overinflated gold to silver ratio will continue to fall as price manipulation ends and true price discovery begins. So I like this little graph right here. This is a beautiful graph, well done. You got the cup and right here, so you got the all-time high back in February 1980, all the way to, so it came down, bear market, then it came back up, retested the all-time high back in 2011. So you have 31 years of consolidation right back to the all-time high. And then now, since it got rejected in 2011, now you got the consolidation sitting in a handle. So the low point was $12.04, and back in 2008, $8.42. So it made a lower high, a higher low in 2020. That's where it broke out. A lot of assets did. Silver was just continuing its cycle right here because it's been in a super cycle, so it was obviously suppressed because the handle has to finish out. But here you can see that it's broken out now. Back in October 2024 is when it broke out. This chart right here, they got a price prediction of after the breakout, and obviously it needs to get above that all-time high, which, by the way, could get rejected again. So it could be a little while, but they've got a price targets of $250 all the way to $630. That's, of course, after the $90 price target I have, which almost guaranteed to hit maybe this year. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at $90 price target for silver, and we'll jump into that. The chart of silver, and this chart gives us silver all the way to 1800s to the current price, which is $38.16, which was a new breakout price, continuing the high from 2011, which, by the way, we're going to get into talking three key factors here in the charts. 1, RSI, 2, moving averages, and 3, resistance. All right, so we're going to start with the RSI. Where was our RSI? There it is. And right now we're in the month chart. So this is a good chart to look at. We can also look at the week chart as well, but it kind of doesn't give us the full view in one scope. We got to kind of move it over. But we can look at the RSI a little better there. But we're going to move to the month chart so we can look at the full scale right there. So that's silver right there. Look how beautiful that chart looks. And you can see from the 1800s all the way to about 1964, silver was either very overbought or very, very oversold considerably. We're going to talk about the RSI right now. Okay, so if we look at the RSI back before it hit all-time high, you can see here in 2011 made a new all-time high. It was very, very overbought, you can see back in 2011, but very short-lived. So back here, you can see high levels of overbought before accumulating down in the RSI. But you can see that the squeeze still brought the price up. So it finally topped when it was completely overbought there, all the way to levels of almost 100, and then it popped. Here we got a consolidation with it being pretty normal, but very volatile, but in the range of 28 all the way to 70. So nothing drastic in the overbought levels, but it is now becoming broken out right here, and looks like we got our first overbought level that you can see back in 1973. Looks the same. RSI kind of popping out there. Had a retest here and continuing to move up. So I think that's what we're going to have. And it's going to bring us to a new all-time high right around $90 when that happens. Okay, so that'll be our first move up out of this cup and handle. I believe it'll be broken here, $50, and then much like from this 50 moving average to the top here, so basically from $8 all the way to $50, we would get the line shows 486%. But you can look here. So even if we doubled here, 881 days, we went to 1600 days in this breakout. Brings us to 2027. And it brings us to a price target of $104. So of course we got to break that all-time high right there, $49.42. I think currently right now you can see just on the chart right there how beautiful that looks. $33 was the breakout point right there. Now we're at $38. You can see right here back in 2008, 2010, $19 was the breakout point, rode its way all the way to $49 from 19 to 49. So it's looking really healthy, looking really good. There's going to be some pullback, but don't fade this one out, that's for sure. We're going to talk about moving averages now. All right, so it's becoming absolutely very, very crucial right now that you pay attention, because this moving average right here, the golden cross, as I'd like to call it, because the 50 and the 100 are crossing as we speak right there on the month chart. And I want to go back to what happened. So what happens after that crosses? That was basically the start of this bull run right back in 2005 when it crossed there. We'll go to the week chart and we can see another cross right here with it. It's happened back in July 2024. So ever since it happened, that's when it broke out, and there's the 50 crossing the 100, and some evidence of another cross would be right back again in 2005. So we'll just zoom up into this there, the green, okay, And the purple, that's the cross. That was almost the very bottom, went parabolic basically year after year all the way up to the all-time high. So this is very, very crucial. Okay, this is what's going to make or break the early buyers. Okay, the early buyers is right now. Obviously, you can't get this price anymore in this consolidation area from 1981 to 2008. You just can't get those prices anymore because that has squeezed and the new pricing has begun. So $11 back in 2020 was the generational bottom. Okay, so that's the moving averages. Okay, they were all lined up. You got the right here. I've got the 50 moving average. We've got the 100 moving average, the 200 moving average, and the 365. Sorry, the purple moving average was the 100 moving average, and the green was the 200 moving average. So those are what crossed. Right here, and also on the month chart. And then we'll go to the 3-month chart, and you can see that the moving average has been lined up for quite some time. So it's actually been in a bull run since the 50 moving average crossed the 100 right here back in 2007. Okay, so it's actually, silver's actually been, since that happened, it snapped up basically to an all-time high and came crashing down below the 50 moving average right here, and came under the 100 moving average. So that was the generational bottom right there, because that's where it bounced off of ultimately. So that's the moving averages. Now we'll talk about the resistance that silver has. Okay, and you can see right here also, by the way, if we're going to talk about RSI, it was completely overbought there back in 2011 and 2006. Okay, it's completely overbought. So that means the continuation is going to extend. You can see it's already handled, and it's going to be broken again to be overbought in a extremely overbought level, which will bring it to new prices, almost guaranteed. So we're going to talk about resistance now, and you can see that there's resistance right here at $32 all the way up to $50, but you can see it's in different areas. So we got one heavy resistance right there between $34 and $38. Once it breaks this, peak top would be at $44. So I wouldn't be surprised if silver ran right to $44, right back down to $37. So that would be the trade if you were trading silver and you were buying it now. You'd be selling it at $44, and because it could come all the way down to actually $32 right in this heavy support area, because there's going to be, this is all resistance right here. It's $37 to $44, and then if it breaks $44, there's almost price discovery at that point, but it would be light resistance, and $44 all the way to $49 would be the resistance area, and that would be in overbought levels. So we would probably have a pullback right at $49, and you can almost trade it there back at, let's see here. So this broke out and then didn't touch the 21 moving average for quite some time. You can almost trade it back right where it consolidated there. Okay, right here at $32. All right, so that's all I got for you on the silver chart, and silver, the biggest cup and handle of all time. Thank you for watching.